Cork's Red FM.
I think we're focusing on ourselves now, to be honest with you, to get that performance as well. I think that from comments from people, even some of our own, saying that they were amazed and surprised with our performance the last day. I wouldn't have been surprised by it, and I don't think the players were surprised by it, but it seems to be the general public seems to be amazed by it, and that's an incentive for us really to reproduce that performance. And it was the facts are the facts. It was we did play as a 15-man game, so from that point of view, that's our target again, and if we do that, sure, it's very hard for anyone to beat 15 players that are playing. We saw that in the league finals when Galway really nearly played to the optimum, that we weren't that far off them, but we were just never going to get close enough to do any damage. But and it's the same the last day. No matter what tipped through it, it's like when we had the 15 fellas all on top of their game, it's very hard to break it down.
You weren't surprised by the performance, but were you surprised by the winning margin in the end against the team who possibly should have won an All-Ireland last year?
Yes, I was. There's no doubt about it. I felt that Tip, in fairness, were unlucky that they didn't get a few goals, and that maybe a true reflection of the game might have been a 5-point game or something like that, rather than a 10-point game. But look, we'll take it. We're not cribbing,
Isaki obviously hogged the headlines for the few days after that game. The pressure will be on him now because I suppose he's a marked man in a way. Do you think that'll have any effect on him?
I don't think so. I think that'll help him. You saw the last day what he was able to do, and again, going back to the league final, I suppose he was unlucky enough. In that the league, that they were able to get a couple of defenders around him, and that, whereas in the championship, we had a fair idea going into the championship is very much maybe it's a one-on-one more because of the pace of the game. And I'd say he'll thrive on it. That's the O'Halpians traditionally thrive on a bit of pressure, and I was delighted from the last day, but he is under a bit of pressure to reproduce it again now. Not that will affect him, but I think that'll drive him on, and I have every confidence in him.
It's fair to say that complacency won't be a fear for your side, I'm sure, approaching this, despite what everyone will say about Limerick.
No, I think where we've come from, maybe from the point of view of trying to get everything right and get everyone firing on all cylinders again, and the whole lot is that we've put too much into it now to say that we played well against Tipperary and we leave it at that. That's not where that's not our hallmark really, and anyone involved, myself and the management and the players. We're only responding to the players, and they're bringing us along really, rather than we're not. The management isn't bringing the players along. I think it's the other way around. And the performances have been, at league, we played very well in most of the games in the league, including the first half of the league final. And if you were to break it down really, the second half of the league final was the only half an hour, really was the only full half an hour in the whole league that we didn't really shape up. We're concentrating really on ourselves. We're just our players wouldn't be as familiar with those Limerick players as any other county, but we've had a good look at them now a few times, and it's my job, I suppose, in the management, just to communicate from the bits and pieces about this player and that player, and to make sure that they're familiar with him. When we played them in the league game, certainly, they played as if the 15 of them played, and they were certainly willing to move it on fairly fast, and seemed to be making the right decisions on the ball, whether that was to give a hand pass or to move it on. And kind of a lively approach to the game, which is maybe the hallmarks of Justin really, and his coaching. And I would have to say that they seem to be making the right decision on the ball a lot of the time, which is always a good sign.
I spoke to you before the league final, Dennis, about Owen Cadigan and how the importance of full back as a position. You said at the time it's possibly the toughest position on the field to play in. He's a guy who was, I suppose, previously known more for his exploits in the half back line. He's made the full back position his own in a big way the last couple of years.
Yeah, he has. I suppose, when I say full back is a difficult place to play, is that you need to have a lot of battle in there, a lot of a lot of heart, and you know, there's a few breaks the ball will go against you, and that doesn't mean that you're a lesser player or anything, and you've got to have the character to go for the next one, and to dominate your area again, and not to be kind of going back into your shell and that. And you know, he has that character in him, and you know, I think he'd have to prove it now. Nearly every day he's gone out, so you know, I'm very, very pleased, because it's an important position.
Has he surprised you? I mean, how well he's actually done there in the 2 championship games against Tip in the last 12 months?
Well, I don't think so, because I suppose after I mean, I played in that position myself as a stopgap, really, because I would have been never a natural fullback, and you know, I drew on my own experiences from that point of view to know what were the positives and negatives and what you'd be looking for in a player, and you know, I felt that at, you know, 23, 24 years of age, like he's a very manly player, and you know, he has that bit of bite, and he likes to dominate his area, and I think they were the main things. And we've been lucky in that regard, because I mean, Diarmuid Sullivan was a massive operator in there for nearly 10 years, and you know, as you go back over full-backs over the last maybe past 2 decades, isn't too many fellas last that long, but Owen certainly looks like a guy that could dominate for a long time to come, you know.
Just finally, Dennis, the prize on Sunday for the winners is a place in the Munster final against Waterford, something that was a regular occurrence for Cork hurling maybe around 2004, 5, 6. It's been a kind of a rarity in the last few years. It would be great to get back there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I suppose, look, we're, you know, I mean, the way we're looking at it is that we're just taking every game as it comes, but you know, we wouldn't hide the fact that the Munster Championship in general is important to us this year, because I think the confidence, I kept saying, maybe going for nearly 3 months now, that whoever won the Cork Tip game, whoever won that was going to give it great confidence, and that has been the case. And you know, like, once semi-finals are always dangerous things, because if you lose semi-finals, you're kind of you're nowhere, you're nothing. And you know, look, we're going to stay clued into the Limerick game, and you know, we know whether you win or lose, you have another game after that. But I mean, you know, our intention is to stay in the Munster Championship and try and win every game as it comes along.
Cork's Red FM.